All right, ready to dive into the world of bouldering.
Always ready for a climb.
Today, we've got this awesome article, Bouldering Tips for Beginners.
Written by Jose Fernando Costa.
Exactly. We'll use it to break down bouldering for anyone who's, curious.
Yeah, it's a great place to start.
Think of it like a crash course, you know.
It gives you a taste of everything.
But just a heads up,
It really is just the tip of the iceberg.
there's so much more to bouldering than we can cover here.
Oh, for sure.
So the article starts off talking about this minimum effective dose.
Right.
What's that all about?
It's like finding that sweet spot in your training.
So you're not overdoing it.
Exactly. Getting the most out of your workout.
Well, without hurting yourself.
Yeah, injuries are a bummer.
In bouldering uses so many different skills.
It's not just about strength.
Right, right.
Flexibility and technique are huge.
So the article dives into training tips.
It focuses on 3 main movements.
Pulling, pushing, and hinging.
Like building a foundation.
So it's not just about having huge biceps.
No. Bouldering uses your whole body.
That makes sense.
So for pushing, the article suggests tricep dips.
Oh, those are tough.
But they build those triceps you need for pushing off holds.
Got it. What about legs?
Super important.
What does the article say about those?
Well, there's this exercise called the Copenhagen plank.
I've never heard of that one.
They work those inner thigh and oblique muscles.
Oh, those are key for those tricky moves on the wall.
Exactly. And for hinging, there are deadlifts.
Deadlifts, classic.
They target your back, glutes, and hamstrings.
Makes sense. You're basically pulling yourself up against gravity when you're bouldering.
Right, your posterior chain is working hard.
Wow, I never realized how much goes into bouldering strength training.
It's a full body workout.
But it's not all about strength, right?
It's definitely not. Flexibility is key too.
Especially in the legs.
Yeah.
It seems counterintuitive.
Yeah.
You're all about strength in this sport.
You need flexibility for range of motion, balance, and to prevent injuries.
Makes sense. What exercises does the article suggest?
It recommends Cossack squats.
Those are those deep squats where you extend each leg out to the side, right?
Yeah,
They're great for opening up the hips.
And the adductors.
Oof, I can already feel the burn.
And then there are Malasana squats.
Those mimic those deep squat positions on the wall.
You got it.
And lunges, too.
Yes, lunges for those hip flexors.
Okay, so we've covered strength and flexibility.
The foundations are there.
What about the actual climbing techniques?
The fun stuff.
The article mentions a whole bunch, and some of them sound pretty intense.
There are foot swaps, flagging, drop knees, walkovers.
It's like a whole new vocabulary.
It is.
Let's start with foot swaps.
Okay, so basically,
What are those all about?
it's about swapping your feet on holds to reposition yourself.
Sounds tricky.
There are different ways to do it, like the roll on, roll off.
Where you roll your foot over the hold?
Yeah, exactly. And the tablecloth, where you slide your foot across.
Oh, I see. What about flagging?
Flagging is using your free leg for balance.
Like a counterweight.
Right. It helps you from swinging away from the wall when you're reaching for a hold.
Brilliant. Using your own body weight to your advantage.
That's the idea.
And drop knees.
Those are a bit more advanced.
What do they involve?
You twist your knee inwards, drive your hip into the wall, and use that momentum to reach for a hold.
That sounds way more complicated than just pulling yourself up with your arms.
It definitely takes practice.
And speaking of arms, the article says to rely on your legs more.
It's a common mistake for beginners to overuse their arms.
But legs are stronger.
Yeah, they're built for pushing.
Like when we walk, run, jump.
Exactly. So use those leg muscles when you're bouldering.
And your arms are more for balance.
What can control you.
It's like a whole body dance, coordinating everything.
That's a great way to put it.
What about toe hooks?
Oh, those are fun.
I've seen climbers using them, and they look so cool.
They are cool. It's where you use your toes to grip a hold.
Usually underneath you.
Yeah, for tension and stability.
Like an extra hand, but on your foot.
Exactly.
Wow, so many techniques.
And we're just scratching the surface.
The article also talks about deliberate practice.
It's super important.
What does that mean exactly?
It's about being mindful during your practice.
So, not just going through the motions.
Right. Break down the climbs into smaller movements.
Practice them with intention.
Or really focus on your form.
It's like anything you're trying to master, right?
Exactly. It takes focus and intention.
Bouldering is so much more complex than I thought.
It really is a fascinating sport.
And we've only just begun our exploration.
There's so much more to discover.
Stay tuned for part 2, where we'll delve into the world of bouldering shoes.
We'll talk about how to choose the right pair for your climbing adventures.
It's going to be a wild ride.
I can't wait.
Welcome back, climbers. Ready for more bouldering goodness?
I am.
Today, we're talking about shoes.
Not just any shoes, though.
Oh, right. Bouldering shoes.
Those sticky-soled wonders that make all the difference.
I've always wondered about those.
Yeah.
Why not just climb in regular gym shoes?
You could, but it's like running a marathon in flip-flops.
Ouch, that sounds painful.
Bouldering shoes are designed specifically for climbing.
What makes them so special?
Well, first off, the rubber.
Is it, like, super sticky?
It is. It grips those tiny holds like glue.
So you don't, like, slip off.
Exactly.
That makes sense. What else?
The fit is also crucial.
How so?
They're supposed to be snug,
Snug.
almost like a second skin.
Wait!
That helps with precision and control.
Oh, I see. So you can feel all those tiny footholds.
Right. You need that sensitivity for those technical moves.
But how do you choose the right bouldering shoes?
There are so many options.
It can be overwhelming.
The article suggests starting with a neutral shoe,
Neutral.
not too aggressive in shape.
So not super pointy or downturned?
Yeah, those are for more advanced climbers.
Got it. And what about fit?
Fit is super important.
Do you just, like, eyeball it?
No, you want them snug, but not painful.
So no black toenails.
Uh-huh. Definitely not.
And try them on at the end of the day.
That's a good tip.
Why is that?
Your feet are a bit swollen then.
Oh, so you get a more realistic fit.
Exactly.
But wouldn't your feet get all sweaty in those tight shoes?
That's where the chalk bag comes in.
Right, the chalk
It helps absorb moisture.
for extra grip.
You got it.
It's like magic powder for climbers.
Kinda.
Speaking of grip, those handholds can get pretty gross.
Yeah, sometimes.
So chalk helps with hygiene too.
Yeah, it definitely helps.
Okay, so we've got our shoes and chalk bag.
Ready to climb?
Almost. But what about those techniques we talked about?
Ah.
How do they actually work on the wall?
Well, it's all about solving those bouldering problems.
Bouldering problem.
That's what they call the roots.
Like puzzles.
Exactly. You have to figure out the sequence of moves to reach the top.
Sounds challenging.
It is. Each problem is marked with colored tape.
To show you which holds to use.
Yep, like a giant game of connect the dots.
But with your body,
Uh-huh.
how do you know where to start?
You look at the holds and try to figure out the best way to reach the top.
It's like a visual puzzle.
Climbers call it figuring out the beta,
The beta.
the best way to solve the problem.
I see.
And there's usually more than one way to do it.
So you find the beta that works for you.
Right. And watching other climbers can help.
You can learn by observing.
Definitely. It's like having a silent mentor.
Cool.
And don't be afraid to ask for advice.
Most climbers are pretty friendly, right?
Yeah, the bouldering community is really supportive.
It's awesome that everyone helps each other.
Bouldering is as much about community as it is about the physical challenge.
So it's not just about conquering the wall.
It's about the journey and the people you share it with.
I love that. This deep dive has been amazing.
Me too. I'm learning so much.
We've covered so much ground already.
But there's still more to explore.
In part 3, we'll dive into the mental aspects of bouldering.
We'll talk about overcoming fear, staying motivated, and cultivating that bouldering mindset.
It's going to be fascinating.
Can't wait.
Welcome back to our bouldering deep dive.
We're on the final climb.
And this time, we're tackling the mental game.
The most challenging part for some.
Definitely. I mean, how do climbers stay so calm on the wall?
It's a skill you develop.
The article talks about embracing failure.
Right, not being afraid of it.
Easier said than done, I think.
Oh, for sure. It's easy to get discouraged, especially as a beginner.
When you see everyone else just like cruising up those walls.
Exactly. But the article reminds us that falling is part of the process.
You're going to fall.
It's inevitable.
So you have to accept it.
And learn from it.
Each fall is feedback.
Yeah. A chance to analyze what happened.
See what you could have done differently.
And try again.
It's like a constant cycle of learning.
Trial and error.
And the article also talks about staying positive.
Having the right attitude is huge.
Bouldering can be frustrating, right?
It can be. You hit plateaus, you have bad days.
It's not always easy.
But if you can stay positive, focus on the process.
And celebrate the small wins.
You'll be amazed at what you can achieve.
It's about the journey, not just the destination.
Absolutely. And finding that flow state.
When you're completely absorbed in the climb.
Yeah, that's the magic of bouldering.
And surrounding yourself with the right people helps.
Having a supportive community makes a huge difference.
The article mentions climbing with different people.
It's so valuable.
You can learn from each other.
Share tips and tricks.
And just have fun together.
That's what it's all about.
Bouldering is more than just a physical challenge.
It's a community.
And a journey of self-discovery,
You learn resilience.
and push your limits.
It's incredibly rewarding.
So if you're thinking about trying bouldering,
Don't hesitate.
it's an amazing sport.
Challenging, but so much fun.
And who knows?
You might just discover a passion you never knew you had.
That's it for our bouldering deep dive.
Thanks for joining us on this climb.
We hope you learned something new.
And that you're inspired to get out there and try bouldering for yourselves.
Until next time, happy climbing!
See you on the wall.